All right, welcome back, folks. So I wanted to talk about Bitcoin Cash and investors. And Bitcoin Cash has been having an incredible pump over the past week or so. Its price has risen dramatically, and it's pushed through some key barriers to get to where it is now, over $300. And, you know, it's a real, somebody said it best. I was going to use the term sleeping giant. They said it was a sleeping dragon. So it is sleeping dragon just starting to wake up, because I think it's going to do phenomenal. But just imagine what Bitcoin Cash is going to do when we get additional investors, the big time investors coming on board, when it starts to get more institutional interest coming on board. We've just, what we've seen in the past week or so is just the start, right? It's just the groans. It's just the mumbles. It's just the start of things. You know, we're going to see incredible things, I think, with Bitcoin Cash. And so I wanted to talk about, you know, why I think Bitcoin Cash is going to become a true winner out there in a sea of hundreds and thousands of cryptos. It's going to be a true winner. And it's going to really take off, because it's going to garner the attention of big time investors. So let's just start. Okay, it's still morning. I'm still like waking up. I'm going to take a little sip of orange juice here. And standard disclaimer applies here. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research, invest wisely, all that kind of good stuff. I'm just a dude in my Jeep. Spouting off my opinion about what I think. So I'll talk about, you know, I guess the way I looked at things from my perspective when I first started to invest in Bitcoin Cash, and why I saw it as an incredible value. And I think the things that I saw in it and the way I was thinking about it, this is also going to apply to other investors when they come along. The big institutional investors, they are going to do their research. They are going to analyze the situation. They're going to make steps and take actions that lead them to Bitcoin Cash. You know, if you look at, first of all, I'll talk about their side of things first. Like, the institutional investors are being introduced, for example, to the EDX exchange that was recently launched, to the big four, as I've been calling them, the big four: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Okay. And they aren't introduced, like, they don't have on their exchanges any of the other cryptos. It's just the big four. Bitcoin Cash is there. Now, everybody knows Bitcoin. Everybody knows Bitcoin. It's a well-known name, right? Everybody understands Bitcoin, and the big time investors will see Bitcoin as a phenomenal investment in comparison to traditional investments that they have put their money in. Right? They're going to see it as a tremendous asset, right? But they're also going to take a look at other assets that are there in the big four, and they're going to say, hey, wait a second. These assets have incredible potential and are incredibly undervalued. And a lot of these things that I'm talking about for Bitcoin Cash also apply to Litecoin. Okay? Litecoin is also going to get the institutional interest because of the fact that it is an underdog, that it is undervalued and underloved, just like Bitcoin Cash. It's going to get the same type of interest. Okay? So they're going to look at that, and they're going to start to analyze things. And when they analyze things, they're going to see that their potential return from Bitcoin Cash is phenomenal compared to Bitcoin, right? They're going to see, because they look at things from a perspective of asymmetric risk. And what that means is, when you're looking at an asset and you're looking to invest in it, you know that it could go up or down, right? Everybody knows something could go up or go down. But the downside risk is probably not that great in comparison to the potential upside. So they're going to look at Bitcoin Cash, and they're going to see that it has tremendous asymmetric risk, like little downside, incredible upside. And they're going to take a look at that, and they're going to make a determination that Bitcoin Cash is a real winner and is something that they should consider in their portfolio. And these are institutions that are not only investing for themselves, but they're institutions that that invest on behalf of very wealthy clients, and they're looking after the interests of their wealthy clients, and the wealthy clients are going to be saying, hey, I want Bitcoin Cash, or I want Litecoin. They're going to be, their constituents are going to be asking for Bitcoin Cash, right? This is because of asymmetric risk. The super wealthy understand asymmetric risk. Okay. They understand the upside potential. They understand the underdog. They understand what it takes to come from nowhere and to make something, because a lot of them had to go through that themselves. They had to start the businesses, start the companies, start the organizations, build the infrastructure to actually make something of themselves. A lot of, I forget what the figure is right now, but the vast majority of multimillionaires out there are self-made. Like, they are self-made. They know what it takes to go from ground zero, to go from even below ground, to come out of the hole, and to go to great heights. They understand that path. They understand that story. Okay. I don't know if this video is actually going to record. I can watch myself on the screen, and everything's like delayed, slow, because the phone is in the light. It's in the sunlight, and I think it's getting hot. So I don't know if this video is actually going to turn out. Hopefully it does. Anyway, let me move on to things I looked at Bitcoin Cash. Things I considered about it before I got in and before I invested. Because a lot of these things that I looked at, they're also going to look at, the institutions are going to look at, very wealthy families are going to look at, and they're going to take this into consideration as to where they want to put their money, what projects do they want to side with, where do they want to vote with their dollars, how do they want to do that. So I looked at Bitcoin Cash. I started to learn about it. I didn't know shit about it. I started to learn about it years ago, and I started watching YouTube videos, and I learned about it from what people were saying. I learned about the community that was present worldwide, but especially like the adoption stuff that's been happening in the Caribbean, right? And South Florida too. And what people like Roger Ver and Ryan, I think it's Griffin or Griffith, forget his last name, and Bitcoin Jason and many other people that I've watched on YouTube, what they've done in terms of advocacy, in terms of helping with adoption, like merchant adoption, and just teaching people and hosting conferences, speaking at conferences, giving presentations, posting on Twitter, people who create videos on YouTube. There's an incredibly vibrant community of Bitcoin Cash holders. Bitcoin Cash community is extremely vibrant, right? And that was something that I knew was really key for me, because I saw the power of community. Like, I know the power of community. I've been so blessed in my life that I have a very successful software company, but guess what? I started that project 20 years ago. And for the first 10 years of it, I didn't have anybody. There was no company. It was just me doing it as a hobby project. But I started to build a community around the world, and people who used it and liked it. And it was that community that really allowed me to launch a company that would change my life. And it took me through that hero's journey. Like when you hit rock bottom and you're having to go on your own, and you feel like nobody's on your side, and then you find people and they help you, and you get to the point where you can actually take a shot, take a chance at doing something. So I understand the power of community. I looked at that, and I looked at the basic stuff about Bitcoin Cash, like the fact that it's faster than Bitcoin, that it's much cheaper than Bitcoin. I looked at it had the Bitcoin name, because I knew marketing and brand name recognition was so important. So the fact that Bitcoin Cash has a Bitcoin name is a huge, huge win. I understand the power of marketing and the words that you use. And so the fact that it has cash in the name that's a huge draw for me. Huge draw. Everybody likes cash. Everybody loves cash. I don't know anybody who doesn't like cash, right? So, it's things like that, and also the fact that people were saying that Bitcoin Cash was a dead coin, that it was going to go to zero, that it was worthless. It was It was that me seeing people say that in like comments of videos. I saw that and I go, you know what? I want to side with the underdog because I know what the underdog can do. I know the risk is worth it. I gauged the risk and I said, there's going to be an incredible rise in Bitcoin Cash. It is going to become a superstar. It might take a couple of years, but it's inevitable. It's in the cards. Like it's inevitable from my perspective. How soon it happens, how quickly it happens, nobody knows. But all I know is it has all the ingredients to become phenomenal. And so investors are going to look at stuff like that. They're going to take that stuff into consideration, and it's going to affect their purchasing decisions. It's going to affect where they decide to park their money, because they want a great return, and they don't want a rug pull. They don't want a pump and dump scheme. They don't want a meme coin that shoots to the moon and then crashes. They want something that's tried, true, that's been around, that's seen a couple things, and that's going to be around for years, right? And they're going to see that in Bitcoin Cash. They're also going to see that, you know, a lot of them, and me too, like, I wish they're going to also wish that they were able to go back in time and buy Bitcoin when it was $100 or $200 or $300. We can't go back and change the past. We can't do that, but they're going to see that they have